I would love to kiss you. The price of kissing is your life. Now my loving is running after my life, shouting, "What a bargain! Let's buy it." This poem by Rumi, the 11th century mystic, is about losing ourselves, but in love and for all the right reasons. When it's no longer about my life or your life, but loving life itself. Yet sometimes we confuse this incredible passion for how we think we're supposed to act. Passion infused with wisdom is compassion. Passion confused with "I should be good" is idiot compassion. And I had a really bad case of it. In 1979, I almost died in a climbing accident in the Wind River Range of Wyoming. I fell over 200 feet, mangled my ankle, and lost my eye. It began on a chilly September morning in the high peaks. The ice couloir we had chosen to climb, a steep gully, was either covered with crusty ice studded with chunks of granite, or was smooth and slick. It was plate glass ice, translucent in the morning light. The person I was climbing with that day was experienced in leading on ice, and I was not. At the base of the climb, we tested our ice tools, and then he shot up and called down for me to bring up the rope. I responded to the authority of his voice without listening to what was wise in the moment. The day before, a small group of us had hiked in 23 miles with those notorious 80-pound packs. And I was recovering from the flu. No was not a word in my vocabulary. And on that fateful morning, I began to climb. The problem was, my center was out there, not in here, not in the moment, not taking in the total environment, his capacities or mine. My other-centeredness was masking my fear of speaking the truth, or even knowing my truth. On a very near vertical section of the climb, where it was like plate glass ice, I lost my balance. As I began to fall, I remembered an instructor's advice to stay upright in an avalanche. As I focused on keeping my head above my feet, time slowed down, and I was able to adjust my movements, dig my elbows and my knees into the hard surface to try to slow down, and also to keep those ice tools and crampons from grabbing into the ice and flipping me over. As the incline of the slope began to lessen, one of my crampons did catch in the ice, and I came to a screeching halt. Not knowing how it happened, I had spun around and was now facing outward, stunned by the beauty of the peaks down the valley. Gratitude filled every cell of my body. I was so happy to be alive. Then I noticed I was only seeing out of one eye. My first thought, what had I done? What had I done? My second thought, don't think about it. Just get down the mountain. 24 hours later, in the hospital, I was told I would probably lose my eye. My first thought, call my parents. My second thought, I am never going to let this stop me from doing anything. For years later, I dreamt of down climbing. In my life, I was coming down to the earth, into my body, and grateful. I was learning to be grateful for every day. I was learning to live more upright, with my head above my feet, and to see the world with a beginner's mind. I was learning to be a wise girl and not a good girl, in more ways than one. The continual lesson for me, and I imagine for every one of us, is to be centered. Not just self-centered, not just other-centered, but exquisitely centered in awareness. Rumi says, some nights stay up until dawn, like the moon does for the sun. Be a full bucket pulled up the dark way of a well and lifted into the light. I feel so blessed to have been lifted up by the grace of presence itself. Yet I recognize this lifting up as something we must do daily to stay awake to the gifts we have been given. There is no way up the well but the dark way. We blow it in big ways and in small. We need to look deeply at our failings and our fears, and then let them go. May all of us, you and I, be a bucket full of lessons and overflowing with wisdom and love. Thank you.